I'm so, and Glenn touched on it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the
Thank
work that
you.
you're
Thank you.
doing.
Thank you.
As I shared, I wasn't in the first class, but I was in one of the early classes,
One of them
and
early classes. Yeah.
and so to see where that idea, like you said, because it wasn't a dream, it was just an idea, and where it's gone to, and although you have 8,000 plus members, you've touched multiple thousands, tens of thousands of women over the course of your journey
Yeah.
and have added value to them. And I just wanted to celebrate you for Black
Thank you.
History Month. And as Glenn shared before, we will be celebrating a mover and shaker every month this year for Black History, because Black History doesn't just happen in February. It happens every day. So
Right,
we
right.
just wanted to celebrate you and the accomplishments that you've made. We're looking forward to being able to partner with you to do
That part.
something here in Panama.
That
So I
part.
do want to pose a question for our viewers.
We are back, guys. We are back. Listen, Cherie, I can't tell you how excited I am. You already know when Tiff comes to the conversation is a situation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Behind Closed Doors with the Brookses. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. and this lovely, beautiful, bronze-looking kind of a situation going on.
It's Cherie A. Brooks Jr. It's great to be with you guys. And our dear, dear friend, Miss Tiffany Mack Fitzgerald is with us. Tiff, tell people a little bit more about you. I know we did a little brief intro, but let people know who you are and what it is that you do.
So I'm a mom, I'm an auntie, I'm a big sister. All those things come way before everything else. But and the founder of Black Girls Golf. I'm recently an author trying to follow in my big brother Glenn's footsteps and author me some books. And really just having a really, really good time sharing my love of golf with Black women across the US and a few other countries.
So, Tiff, what motivated you to start Black Girls Golf? And I will say this, and I happened to be one of the I was an early participant early on when you first
Yep,
started. But what
yep.
motivated you to start Black Girls Golf?
I was doing all of the things we are told to do, right? Get good grades, go to college, get a job, checking all of the boxes. I didn't do everything in perfect order, but I was checking boxes. And when I got to corporate America, it was just really a strange place to me, you know? I didn't grow up understanding people who were adjacent to corporate America, right? I grew up in the hood, second oldest of five to a single mom. Corporate America was not a real place to me, you know? So getting there, although it was like the ultimate achievement, right? To land a job in an international organization, everybody's all excited for you, but nobody really prepared me to be there. I'm blackety black, right? And I didn't understand. So the only thing that I knew for sure was that code switching was just ingrained in me. I think I was conditioned to do it. I didn't realize that's what it was. Um, but I knew how to do that really well. I didn't know how to do all the other things really well that are required of Black people in corporate America. And one of the really, really important things that I wasn't good at and didn't understand was relationship building. I was always told, put your head down, be grateful for this opportunity to be in this wonderful company and work, 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 work. You know, this meritocracy, so they say,
Yeah,
right? I'm
yeah.
working, I'm working, I'm working. I'm there early, I'm staying late. I'm going to the to the daughter's wedding you invited me to. I don't know nobody there. Then when they start playing Kool and the Gang, everybody looking at me because they want me to show them how to do the electric slide. It was just all these things that were just weird to me. But you do your best to fit in because you making more money than you've ever made, and everybody's so proud, and so I'm trying to fit in, right? Instead of letting my little light shine like they teach you at church. Let your little light shine. And I wasn't doing that. I was trying to fit in, and it didn't matter how hard I worked, I was still experiencing a lot of microaggressions, which we didn't even have a word for it then, but I was experiencing all that stuff and it just didn't feel like a good place to me. But now I got these kids, I got this husband, like I can't leave, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to figure out a way to do what was necessary to stay there and be there and get paid, right? Um, there was a cohort of older, seasoned Black professionals who came from HBCUs, and they were kind of they were the generation who taught us put your head down, work, you know, assimilate, basically. And I was hearing more of that when we would do our monthly lunches. I was hearing more of that. And the one thing that nobody said was go play golf. And the only reason why I even thought about going to play golf is because, on a Friday when the weather was nice, one of my white male counterparts would be like, who's going to hit some balls today? Blah, blah. I didn't even know what that meant, if I'm being honest. Go hit some balls. What are they talking about? You know, Little did I know they come to work in their golf uniform. They got on the company polo, the khaki pants, the golf shoes, and the golf bag are in the car. They ain't even got to change clothes. I don't know any of this stuff is happening, but I do know that I'm questioning, like, why, once I learned that they were going to play golf, like, why they get to leave and go play golf?
Tiff,
They going to
one,
leave to play?
listen, when you say that, it's funny because even coming up in the ranks when I was in radio back in DC, and Donnie Simpson was our morning show host and on the FM side of WPGC. And he would come to work on a Friday morning just like that, dressed. He'd be on the air in his outfit. And I remember the executives, and I was one, but I didn't know what you are talking about because I wasn't playing at the time. And they were all getting excited around, and before I know it, they're talking about how, they're going to be leaving because he gets off the air at 10 o'clock in the morning. So guess
Oh,
what? Tea time.
he going
Listen,
right to the golf course.
he's going straight. And all of the sales executives were going right with him. But then here's what I learned. They were bringing their clients. They were
Mm-hmm.
bringing their clients.
Absolutely.
They were doing all the things. And so when you talk about assimilating, and particularly in this global game, there's a game that's being played globally. And I don't think many Black people, period, certainly not Black women, understand that the rules of this game is about developing relationships. And if we're not careful, we'll come from the world of, keep your head down and just do your job when that ain't enough. Talk to us a little bit about that global impact.
That ain't enough. So I was working for a global organization at the time, right? And inviting myself to the golf course with them on a Friday was one of the best things I ever did for myself and for my career. I went and got me some lessons. I got me some cheap golf clubs. Some folks don't remember Kmart, but that's where my first set of golf clubs came from. And I learned that they are talking about all things. They're talking about work, they're talking about family, they're talking about hobbies, and they're talking about all these things, and I'm missing out on these conversations. And working for a global organization, that's something you could take with you no matter where they send you. No matter where they send you, you can go play golf. You don't even need to speak the same language as someone to play golf with them. Um, Golf breaks down barriers. Golf levels the playing field. Golf nurtures and builds relationship. Like, it is something that unlike other sports, allows you to really connect with your opponent, if you even want to call it that. Because one of the things about being someone's golf partner is you can celebrate their good shots because it doesn't hurt you, right? You can help them look for their ball. You can you can give them tips. You can coach them. You can mentor them. There's just so many things that golf can do for you, regardless of geography, regardless of language, all these things. And the people who missing it is us.
Right. And that's a great point, Tiff. And one thing you talked about is that how golf really levels the playing field. And although historically, when people think about golf, it's always been viewed as an elite sport. But African Americans, Africans, people from the African diaspora have been involved in golf for years. There's John Shippen from the US, Papua Sagolum from South Africa. But we have been breaking barriers in golf for years, but not
for
women.
years. If you've ever heard of Shady Rest, one of the first Black country clubs where some of our singers, some of the greatest singers, athletes, businessmen, they were at Shady Rest kicking it and doing what? Playing golf. They were playing golf. It has not been centered, right? Like in like so many other industries, we are not centered, even though we contribute to those industries in so many different ways. A lot of people don't know that a Black dentist is the person who came up with he basically invented the golf tee. He didn't get a dime from it. But the modern golf tee that we use today was invented by a Black man.
Wow. I didn't know that.
We have touched this game in so many different ways. Do you know that because we couldn't play on the professional golf circuit, before white golfers would go play to earn money to play, they would stop off at the Black golf courses to sharpen their skill with Black golfers before they would go play in their tournaments because we were so good. There's a reason why
that sounds
Black
familiar.
caddies, yes, there's a reason why Black caddies are no longer caddying because they realized how important that role was. And once they started paying caddies real money, the Black caddies disappeared. But there was a time when they felt like the only reason a Black person gonna be here is because he carrying my bag.
Wow. Come on now.
But we knew the course intimately. That's probably one of the only times a white man listened to a Black man is on the golf course. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to hit it. This is where I want you to put it.
Listen, here's what's crazy. So you just took me back to about 30 days after I took lessons, and I found myself on Pebble Beach's golf course. 30 days after I had first taken lessons. And what I did not know
That's brave, brother. Listen, that's brave.
Well, it was an opportunity that was offered to me by the company I was working for. It's a nonprofit. There was a leadership retreat that was going down. It was a fundraiser for this particular organization. And we had gone to an event of theirs the month prior. And they basically said, hey, we're doing this event next month. It's out at Pebble. This is the itinerary. This is the cost. And the president and CEO of our company looked at me and said, you want to go play? I was like, do I? Yeah. I said, is it on? He said, no, it's on the company. Let's go. And I'm like, bruh, let's do it. Well, the point I'm making is what I didn't know was that the role of the caddy was really twofold. One, they're going to tell you how to play that course so that you can win it and that you can feel good about playing it. And this is a guy who had just taken lessons. And secondly, it's the history. Like for me to
they know all the history of the course.
We're playing the course and they're talking about who owns that house, who stayed at that house during this particular tournament. I mean, you've been to Pebble at the Pro-Ams and all the things. Tiff, it's a world of introduction that I don't think people understand that has little to do with the game. The game is just a catalyst in so many ways.
The game is the carrot, and I think so many people miss it because the golf industry has done a really good job at centering things that are not relatable to us, right? But the history of that game, when you think about it, wouldn't be what it is if you remove us from it. So many of the great golfers that we hear about that get celebrated only got that way because they were able to sharpen their skills with golfers who look like us. And Black women were there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Althea Gibson, people don't know that she was a good golfer because she got celebrated for her tennis prowess. However, when they needed a Black face to open up golf a little bit and to change their image on the women's side, they went and got somebody that people loved for something else. But there were Black women before her. Anne
That's good.
Gregory, we don't talk about Anne Gregory enough. So like there's so many stories we don't tell about the fingerprints that we've left on the game.
That's good.
Our DNA is there. Tiger wasn't the first.
Right. That's good too. And one thing, as you talk about the history of golf and how we've had a true impact, and like you said, had our fingerprint in it, what are some of the biggest barriers that you would say today to the Black and brown community having access to golf, not just in the US, but globally? What would you say some of those barriers are, even
I think
today?
ignorance on both sides of the ball. I think golf is an industry that has been celebrated for being exclusive. Being exclusive hasn't hurt them in a way that is noticeable. And I think as Black and brown people, we just give it to them. Like we just assume, we believe what they say about the game and its exclusivity. So we don't even consider it. So I think ignorance is number one on both sides. I think secondary to ignorance is access. And there's a lot of different things that impact access, like cost, location. So access is kind of a big thing because there's so much that can inhibit access. But I think if we continue to tear down the stereotypes and the barriers that contribute to the ignorance, that it would make a considerable difference as it pertains to access.
Yeah, and one of the things that I hear you saying when you talk about the ignorance is, and you're so right. I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, well, golf is too expensive to play. And I'm thinking about the amount of money that our parents are spending for these kids to play football and to play baseball and to play all these different, like there are
Let me
fields.
interrupt you. How
Come
much
on.
money they spending at Target on Saturday morning?
Listen,
Name
come
something you
on.
buy at the Target you need. Name one
Listen,
thing.
listen, Tiff. And the crazy thing is, and I haven't even got to that point. That's why we having you on to start this monthly celebration of Black people in and involved around the world, is because you're going to be as candid and I just love it. Here's the challenge, though. The challenge is it goes back to the ignorance. In other words, there is this fuel that we kind of live off of that says, as long as I feel good, it is good. As long as I feel comfortable, this is what I should be doing. And I think that if people could understand the positions you could put your children in simply by introducing them to a game, and we haven't even talked about first tees and all of the different programs and things like that to make this game much more affordable and accessible. But it goes back to ignorance. If you don't know, you just don't know.
If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point. And I know, like, even in the US, we're living in Panama now, but I know growing up in the States, it was something that was always like the biggest barrier. People just didn't think they could afford it. But then I know when we moved to Georgia, we realized just how really accessible it is, how it is affordable. It's not as expensive as you think it is. And now being here in Panama, when you talk about ignorance, we've had the opportunity, because we're in relationship with Panamanians, to realize that they don't even think that that's even an option, because they just see, expats that come here and the higher echelon of Panamanians play golf. And here, a lot of the courses are priced where it is so far out of their range. They don't have a lot of public courses here in Panama like they do in the States. But I think that exposure is amazing. I know, Glenn, you've actually exposed our Panamanian son. We adopted our driver, him and his wife. We've adopted their family. They have adopted us. But Glenn has exposed him to golf and taken him to the driving range and taken him out on the course. And it just like opened his eyes to even see that that's really a possibility. It's something that he can do. And so for you with Black Girls Golf, you targeted women in particular. Because as women in the corporate arena, oftentimes, the men they would do the Friday thing and go off and go play golf. I've heard of lawyers, attorneys, female attorneys, that all of the men partners would go, but they would leave the women. But having the ability to even go out on the course with them not only puts you in position, but outside of just the corporate environment, golf in of itself opens something up for us as women. It opens us up to opportunities. It builds a camaraderie. It has so many positive impacts on women. How have you seen your work impact Black and brown women?
So one of the things I think in particular that women miss is you don't have to be good at golf to play golf. In fact, a lot of the men I know who play, they ain't as good as they think they are. They spend more time in the woods looking for balls. They hitting 1 and 2 shots off the first tee. And to make it okay, they give it a name so that it just seems okay. We're going to hit a breakfast ball. What the hell is that? You just didn't like that shot, so now you want to hit another one. So women, we just by nature, I think, we want to do things the right way. We want to be good at something before we try. We don't want to mess nothing up. One of the things I noticed between men and women with lessons, women have a hard time getting good contact on the ball because they don't want to mess up the grass. Now, a man will dig a hole to China trying to hit the ball. He don't care. He don't care. On a par 5, which means you have 5 chances, 5 swings to get the ball in the hole. A man want to do it in 2 swings. A woman is like, oh, I have 5 times. I'll take all 5 times. Now, in his attempt to do it in 2, it's going to take him 8. But because we like, oh, I get 5, we might do it in 4. We just approach things so differently. Men just don't care that they suck. Women want to get it right before they even go play. And it just don't matter that much. It just doesn't.
And it's funny that you say that because I go out on the course. I don't go as much as Glenn does because I really don't have a community here of other women. And I've asked other women to go, and because they've never taken lessons or they just see it as
they're intimidated.
They see it as a man's thing. They're like, oh, well, I'll just go and ride in the cart. And it's like, just get out and try. It's not that hard, but I hadn't even thought about that. It's the mindset because we want to
be good at it first.
Right. We don't want to get out there and get embarrassed. And it's like the thing that I enjoy about golf more than swinging the ball is the time, the camaraderie, the being able to spend time to talk. We've had some of our deepest conversations out on the golf course because it gives you, it's that stillness out there that you can have those conversations, that you can just, like you said, it's a partnership with the person that you're playing with that levels the playing field. It's like you're equals, no matter what position that person may have. And I think that that's one of the great things about golf.
Yeah, I'm just talking about equals. I think about just the whole handicap system. Like golf is a game that by way of score, they literally are giving you a head start based upon your skill level so that you can come out even at the end. And you technically can beat a person with a handicap who is better than you because of your handicap and that kind. But people, again, this is ignorance. People don't even know that.
People don't know.
And Tiff, when you said that, we will get up to the tee and try to hit that thing like it's a baseball.
Yep.
Going for, look, Tiff, real quick
Yep.
story. I played Doral one year. And again, it was my early on learning. And I met this 11-year-old junior champion. She was from Korea. Her father was
Oh,
walking
say no
around.
more.
Listen, her father was walking around the outskirts of the greens, kind of just paying attention, and she was just doing her thing. I swear to you, she never hit the ball longer than maybe 75, 80 yards. But she was on the greens every single time. And I never will forget, we got to a hole and she kind of asked me, can she play with me? And I said, absolutely. Now, here's what you don't have in me. I ain't like most men. My ego dies when I get to places where I'm just not good at this. I'm not going to fake that. She looked at me
Mhm.
and she said, Mr. Glenn, if I could offer you something, you're holding the club like you think somebody's going to steal it. You Tiffany, I kid you not. I listen, Tiff.
I
And
love it. I
she
love
said,
it. I
if you
love
just
it.
loosen that grip up a little
Loosen
bit,
that grip up a little
you'll be
bit.
fine. And I promise you, once I got a little play, and I was like, wait a minute. But the point I'm making is that this is a game that men traditionally have approached it from that masculine, ego driven, that and the
Hmm.
marginalization that takes place, particularly for women, is unwarranted. Like it is just completely unwarranted. Most times you're going to be able to come through just because of your mentality and make us look really bad.
And make y'all look bad. Look,
You
let
get
me
what?
tell you, a golf course will humble a man like a white washcloth. Let me tell you something. It, because it doesn't matter how hard you hit it, it doesn't matter how far you hit it. If you can't get the ball in the hole, none of that matters. None of that's the point of the game. None of that matters. And I think women, we just assume that the men who are out there because they're good, and they're out there because they like it. They're not out there because they're good, and I've played with men who should be hitting up at the forward tee with me. But
Listen,
because they call the forward tee the ladies' tees, their ego won't allow them to do it. And I'm like, you would enjoy the game so much more if you would just move up a tee box. It will put
you
you closer to the hole because you really don't hit it that far. Like every time we hit, I can put a whole super Walmart between your ball and mine.
Tiffany, you know you
Just
reminded
move
me of that
up.
time. You know you remember that time when Cat Williams said they don't give no extra points for where you hit it from. Like that, like I will hit it from
Right.
whatever. Listen,
Mm, that's hilarious. So, as over the years with Black Girls Golf, you've traveled across the U.S., you've traveled outside of the U.S. Are you seeing an increased interest in golf outside of the U.S.? And if so, are there any plans to expand Black Girls Golf globally?
I would love to host an event with my new Panamanian friends or my old friends who are new
right?
Panamanians.
That part.
Because we've been
I
friends
would,
before we
I
moved
would,
here.
I would love to. Like, I think that golf again can be a gateway into not only seeing the world differently, but seeing the world, right? Because again, language is not a barrier to connecting with someone on the golf course. And I think that when you start to travel more and you pair that with golf, you see more of the world. When you play golf courses in different countries and you are lucky enough to be paired with a native of that country, you get a different perspective of where you're visiting. You get, you know, you gotta leave a resort sometimes. People who travel and stay in resorts,
Get
God
off the
bless you.
reservation.
Maybe you just wanna sleep next to the pool and that's it for you. But for me, part of traveling is about learning about the different cultures. I don't wanna eat the resort food because they've westernized it so that tourists will eat it.
That
Right.
part.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanna know how y'all live. Y'all don't live like
Mm.
this. Y'all just work here.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's
And
very
I
Girl.
true.
I I think adding golf to your travel plans really opens up, your knowledge of the places you visit. If you're open to it, and you don't have to travel with clubs. Typically in other countries or anywhere
Listen,
you travel, you can just rent the clubs from the course. Like you don't have
Yep.
to travel with any gear. Whatever you need, you can buy there.
Well, you ain't said nothing but a thing because you already know your brother is working on some things. And I just want to put it out there. Listen to me carefully, y'all. If you have never been to Panama, if you've never been to the most developed city in all of Central America, Panama City, then I want to implore you to stay tuned to the channel because what Tiffany is saying is closer than you think. And here's the thing that I love about what you said. There was no greater joy than playing one of the courses here that's in the jungle and like literally in the jungle with a Panamanian. Listen to me very carefully. Who this was his first time on a course. We'd hit balls,
Yep.
we'd done all the things, but he had never physically been to the course. This particular course, you can't play in rainy season because of how wet it gets. You can only play it
Okay.
really well in dry season. But Tiff, to hear him say, "Oh, I could get used to this," changed my whole perspective. And so I'm excited. Cherie, I know you got a couple more questions about, the future of Black women's golf with Tiff and where they're going. Guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel, do me a huge favor, take some time, do that now. We're going to put all of Tiffany's information in the descriptions below. She is an amazing human being. We've known her since, oh God, 2010, 11, somewhere in there, 11, 12, maybe.
Probably 2011 or
Yeah,
12, I
yep,
think.
yep, yep.
Something like
So
that.
Tiffany, for those that don't
That's
know,
crazy.
fun
Oh my
fact,
gosh.
Tiffany interviewed me on the very first book that I wrote. And I published that in 2011. So it was definitely 11, 12-ish when you and I both met. And that was before Black Girls Golf.
Yeah.
I remember
That was
when you
before
talked
Black Girls
about
Golf.
Black Girls Golf and the ups and the downs and all of the things. And now you hanging out with people like Steph Curry and and
all the things.
You're Condoleezza Rice.
Listen, step.
Listen, and doing in commercials and things. Tiff, I gotta say to Cherie, as our friend, we can't tell you how proud of you we are. We can't tell how proud we are to know you. And this is what most people who didn't know you then would know now, and that is how you've stayed the same.
Yes.
You have been exactly who you are. The platform of Black Girls Golf gives you an opportunity to amplify, from that little girl that got on a bus from Oakland, California to Grambling, trying to figure out how she was going to pay for school and all the things, and then end up in Iowa and like where no Black people are. And it's like, but you're playing a game that quote Black people don't play, and you're doing it at a high level.
Right.
So y'all, if you get a chance to ever get a part of any of the meetups she's doing, she does amazing retreats. I get jealous because only women are allowed to go. Like I'll be like,
we might be changing that.
Girl,
we might be changing
don't threaten me
though.
with a good time. You understand me? So the point I'm making is
might
that,
be switching it up a little bit.
Listen, they doing all the things. Cherie, what you got, babe?
So Tiff, real quick for the viewers that don't know the journey of Black Girls Golf, can you give them a quick, when you started and how it's elevated and where you are today and what are you doing with Black Girls Golf today?
Yeah, I firmly believe that everybody has a big dream, right? I think that we don't consider it a big dream because we don't even think it's in the realm of possibility. So we just ignore those thoughts because we think they're too big. What's interesting, Black Girls Golf wasn't a dream. It was just this, I just love us, right? I love Black people. I love us so much. And this golf was just a space that I felt like was not serving us, not considering us, neglecting us. And it was a space where I wanted to go flip over some damn tables, if I'm being real, because I love us so much. And we weren't there. And it just didn't feel good not to be there. And then when we were there, we're treated a certain way, right? So I just wanted to keep us safe. If Black women are safe, everybody's safe, right? So I wanted to keep us safe in a place that I enjoyed being. And I wanted to be able to be there with people that I enjoyed being with. And that's us. So it it became a dream after I started. It wasn't the thing that I was like, "Oh, let me do this thing." It became a thing after I was just like, "Let me see." And so literally in March of 2013, I put a Facebook post out, who wants to learn how to play golf? And we met up at Candler Park Golf Course. There was like 26 women. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, y'all. I was like, they don't know what to do. So I did like a little impromptu, this how you hold a club. Lord, I just went and got everybody. Like, come on, this ain't even this ain't gonna be good. And we went and we ate and had a good old time together after that. And I was like, we just really need a place to congregate and learn and enjoy each other. And that was kind of the idea. So the goal was to create community first. And so while I was creating community, I was just offering these 5-week classes. Yeah, I was only charging $99 for 5-week classes. And I did not know what I was doing. Like this, because this wasn't a big thought, I didn't have no marketing plan. Like I did it all wrong. But I, I just knew Black women enjoyed being around each other, and golf was a place I wanted us to do it. And so, as I saw that, like, women want this, I just started focusing on building community. And then I saw how much work it was, and I was like, I need partners. So it went from let's do some classes. Okay, this is cool. Let's build community. Let's get some partners. And, I've had some wonderful partners, but what was the most pivotal point? And the partners allowed me to take it to the next level. The pivotal point, though, COVID and George Floyd were a gift to me. George Floyd's murder was like the waking of a sleeping giant, and this kind of self reckoning that white folks had to have. You know, you got white folks and you got folks who happen to be white. And the folks who happen to be white understood the assignment, and they started putting together initiatives that would elevate people's Black voices around this thing, right? And what happened in the golf industry was, I think they got tired of being on the wrong side of history. And the PGA of America came to the table and started partnering with me. Golf Tech started partnering with me. BMW, Southern Company, Puma, Adidas, Citibank. Like, there were all these partners that had decided, for good or bad, right? That we don't want to be on the wrong side of this history right here. So let's do something. And I just felt like, as a Black person, if you ain't getting your reparations right now, shame on you. Shame on you. And add that 15% Breonna Taylor tax to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like that was a time for Black people who were helping other Black people to take advantage of the moment. Do not let this man's murder be in vain. Do not let the so many Black people who have been slain, don't let this be in vain. If this is the only moment we get in our generation, let us do right by it. And that's what I tried to do, is take advantage of these partnerships and use it to build the platform and community in a way that would allow me some longevity. So now what we've done is created a 9-hole league. We do the annual retreats. I was able to hire someone because of one of these partnerships, because I needed some help. So now Black Girls Golf came from, we got these 26 women on the golf course and I don't know what to do with them, to now we have a community of over almost 8,000 women across the US and a few other countries. And, to a certain degree, I'm still figuring it out, you know. But being able to scale is next, and being able to be not Tiffany physically in these cities where women want to learn, practice, and play, but creating a way and leaning into technology so that I don't have to be in these places. And so the next iteration of Black Girls Golf is more technology driven, so that I can hand over the reins of the community to the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm so, and Glenn touched on it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the
Thank
work that
you.
you're
Thank you.
doing.
Thank you.
As I shared, I wasn't in the first class, but I was in one of the early classes.
One of them
And
early classes. Yeah.
I remember
and-
when we bought her clubs from the PGA Superstore in Gwinnett County. It was a
And
situation.
Gwinnett.
yeah, yeah. And so to see where that idea, like you said, because it wasn't a dream, it was just an idea, and where it's gone to. And, although you have 8,000 plus members, you've touched multiple thousands, tens of thousands of women over the course of your journey
Yeah.
and have added value to them. And I just wanted to celebrate you for Black
Thank you.
History Month. And as Glenn shared before, we will be celebrating a mover and shaker every month this year for Black History, because Black History doesn't just happen in February, it happens every day.
Right.
And so
Right.
we
Right.
just wanted to celebrate you and the accomplishments that you've made. We're looking forward to being able to partner with you to do
That part.
something here in Panama.
That
So I
part.
do want to pose a question for our viewers. Ladies, and I'm going to just say ladies for right now, and maybe for men too, but ladies, if you're watching this and you're interested in coming to Panama for a golf event, a Black girls golf event, just say, yes, I'm interested in the chat so we can find out if people are really interested, because we want to move forward on something, but we need to make sure we're going to have participation. And I know you do your annual retreats, Tiff, and whether us, we'll work out all the logistics on how we're going to do this. But I definitely want to. I know that there is a large Black women's expat community here in Panama, and the majority of them, they're retired. They're coming from corporate America, so they know the game. May not know golf, but they know that game when we talk about
Right.
that,
Right.
the board game. And so I believe that there's interest here, but we just want to hear from you guys if you are interested in that. And for the men as well. I know Glenn has talked before about doing a golf tournament here. If you're interested, just say I'm interested so that we know, because we want to move forward with this. And definitely looking forward to having you, bring you to Panama.
But listen, here's what I want y'all to do. Listen to me. First of all, subscribe to the channel. Second of all, I want you to go follow Tiff. Everything at Black Girls Golf. Okay. She is doing some amazing things, and I'm believing that scalability is not far off. I believe that there are partners and people that are going to be drawn to you, Tiff, through the various ways that you show up. They're going to feel compelled to just come and say, how can I add value? How can I add value and help you scale by being a part of the process? And I want you guys to kind of tap in with her. Tiff, if there's anything in closing you would like to share with our viewership, and just so that you know, the people here, many of them are interested in discovering Panama on some level. With the behind closed doors with the Brookses is about us showing our lives here now. And many of any last parting words that you have for these folks?
Go get my book, Playing from the Rough, on Amazon. Shameless plug. And please, as Cherie asked, give us your ideas about how you want to show up in Panama. Like, I would love to come around some organized event. That would be amazing. If you have relationships in Panama, if you are a native Panamanian and you want to be connected, drop something in the comments. Let's figure this out.
Let's figure it out. At the end of the day, here's what we know to be true, Cherie. You can't get to any place of significance
by yourself.
Tiffany, come on, say it with us. The reason is because we
all
need
some help.
Y'all be good. We're going to catch you guys on the next edition of Behind Closed Doors with the Brookses. Y'all be good. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next week.